Hey, Leo, what's up?
Hey. Oh,
What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing good. My son just woke up as I got on the phone with you.
Oh, that's all good. You need to take him somewhere? You want to hold him? He can babble through. That's fine.
Okay, he might babble a tiny bit.
Well, cool. I think it's one of the most amazing noises in the world, second only to little kids laughing their heads off, which I just love.
Aww.
So, what's up?
So, I am newly married,
Okay.
but I've known my husband for years. My question is, I feel that he treats me different depending on how I look. Like if I don't have my hair done and if I'm not really looking that great, I honestly feel like he does not see me. And that's kind of hard for me to deal with because, they always say men are visual. But, oh, sorry, his toys.
Oh, you're good.
But for me, like, I love him for who he is and I care what he has to say. And just the whole appearance thing is really making me feel not that great, especially since I don't feel my best. I have a 1.5-year-old and after birth, like my face, I have different skin tones. It's called melasma.
Mm-hmm.
So I have dark spots under my cheek. I have a dark spot that looks like a little mustache. My hair is not as healthy as it was before. And it just, I don't know. I feel like something is off there.
Okay. Have you talked to him about it?
I haven't.
Okay.
I know he was married before for 20 years and, they didn't really have a big physical connection. So that was one thing he was very, excited about and happy with me because he was very attracted to me. And I feel like that attraction is going away and he hasn't told me. I've mentioned a little bit, like, because I want to go to the gym, but I haven't been that consistent. And I talk about like, okay, changing my body a little bit. And he says, even yesterday, oh, you're perfect as you are. But then he yawned as he said it. And it just seemed like he's not telling the truth here. So that kind of bothers me too, because I would like to just openly say how we really feel about that.
All right. So there are all types of people all over the place. Okay. I'm going to give you some insight into the secret man meetings that I attend every week. Okay.
Okay.
I don't really attend secret man meetings, but I'm just going to tell you what I've heard behind closed doors for 40 years of growing up in locker rooms and hanging out with dudes and traveling with guys and playing music, like all different guys from all over the spectrum. Okay.
I'm on the edge of my seat, John.
Good. Here's the secrets. Now, make no mistake, there are idiots everywhere in every group of people. We both know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have gotten in a place where you are telling yourself so many different stories that you believe. And then you're reacting to the belief of those stories, and then you're projecting that belief onto your husband. And until you've sat down and had a conversation with him, and he's looked at you and said, you're right, I'm struggling with attraction right now. I love you.
Right.
Which, by the way, that happens all the time. That's normal. That's part of every marriage and every long-term relationship is ebbs and flows in attraction. But here's the big secret I've learned. Almost universally, the sexiest people begin that eros, that eroticism comes from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
It's people who you see them all the time. You're in their presence and they're not classically attractive, right? They wouldn't be on the cover of whatever.
Right.
But you're just overwhelmingly attracted to them. Some of my closest male buddies are not good-looking guys. And I remember back in our 20s, it was staggering to me They would sit down and talk to a group of women, and it was like Brad Pitt just pulled up a seat. And it was this sense that came from the inside out. And I've met women who are just stunning, that aren't done up, that aren't, you know what I mean, like done to the hilt. It's just this it's the way they walk, it's the way they talk, it's the way they understand. I'm in season X, I'm in season Y, I'm in season Z, and you're pretty lucky to be talking to me. And so, yes, there's the classic beauty, the classic, oh, she's hot. There's that, of course.
Right.
But then there's that. I'll tell you a thing in my house. My wife used to come out, she'd wash her hair, and she'd put a towel on her head. For years. Like, she would just, like, fold the towel up on her hair. I just always thought she was cluing me in to the night is over. Right? I just understood that to be the case. I think we were married like 14 years before that came up in conversation. Never occurred to me to talk about it. Maybe 10 years. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, whatever towel's in your head, I just know that this day's over. She's like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. I thought, and then she had a story. And because we never sat down and discussed the stories, I took a particular behavioral cue as, you're on your own tonight. And she took my behavioral cue as, for some reason, she's not beautiful or attractive, or John must be in his own head again tonight. And we did that for years. And all of it was changed with some conversations around a table. And so my question, he's not on the phone, so we can't ask him. I can ask you. You named, in describing yourself, you've named some things that for some reason you have told yourself dampers your inner beauty, your inner sexuality, your inner desirability. Do you really believe that?
No, those are just some parts of me.
Okay.
But then, just for example, like when for years we would be out and he would take pictures of me and like just stare at me and be all excited. And now I notice recently we go out and he just will take pictures of my son and not me. And that just feels kind of like, And that doesn't happen all the time. But then when I look at and this, like you said, it might be in my head. I just can't help but feel it.
It's as the great Brene Brown says, what you go looking for in the world, you're sure to find.
I think you're right on this.
And so if you don't believe you're beautiful, and you don't believe that he desires you anymore, he may see you when he walks into the bathroom, you quickly cover up with a towel. And he may see you look away and not hold his eye contact or his gaze anymore like you used to. And he may, in his own subconscious way, be trying to honor you. Or he may just be so enamored with this little miniature version of himself babbling around that, he takes way more pictures. And that story that you're telling yourself that suddenly you're not even beautiful enough to take a picture of anymore. See what I'm saying?
I do.
So here's the big scary thing. How do you engage in this conversation in real life? Here's what I can promise you. If you approach it with the word you, Y-O-U,
mm-hmm.
I've noticed you don't want to sleep with me as much anymore. I notice you divert your eyes when I walk in the room where I'm just wearing my underwear. I notice you don't take pictures of it anymore. He has to defend himself. If you start the conversation with, can I tell you some things that have been on my heart lately about me? Sure. Go ahead, honey. I've got this thing that makes it look like I have a mustache now. And I remember I looked like X, Y, and Z, and then I had this baby, and now I feel like I look like A, B, and C. I just don't feel beautiful for you anymore. And I feel like I'm moping around the house. I feel like I'm making it hard to be like sexy. We used to have so much sex in the air in our home. And That's an invitation for him to go, yeah, I've noticed. You look like you have a mustache. Or for him to go, what? What are you talking about? I just thought you looked really tired, and I don't want to be haggling all over you. I don't want to bother you. I don't want to be one of those guys that's always pawing at my exhausted wife. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Here's the scary thing. The only way you're going to know is if you put it on the table and say, the story I'm choosing to make up is, and I got that from Brene Brown too. The story I'm choosing to make up is, you no longer think I'm beautiful. Or I no longer feel beautiful. I no longer present as beautiful. I've got these new skin tones. I've got this new, I gained some extra weight. I don't go to the gym as much anymore. The story I'm choosing to make up is I'm no longer sexy or desirable or even worth sleeping with anymore. And just let that be on the table.
I could do that. This isn't what I thought you were going to tell me.
What did you think I was going to tell you?
You're going to laugh, but I was thinking you would say to put effort and to put more effort in my appearance. That men are visual.
Well, so there's number one, there's the stories. And here's why that's important. You're going to get some information. And it might be information that's really hard to hear. He might look at you if he's a person of integrity and he's actually struggling and be like, yes, I'm struggling with this.
Right.
I am. Less about your, like, the shades of your skin tone and more this give up sense.
Right.
Right? And you're the one I'm getting that sense from you. I feel like, you need to ask yourself, what must be true for you to begin to feel desirable in your own skin?
Okay, and this would be something that I would change about myself to feel more desirable, or I pick something that's already that I like about myself.
I don't think it's an either or. I think it's about changing your identity. Because your identity, the story you tell yourself.
This is really hitting me big. Thank you.
Well, the story you tell yourself is, I'm just a frumpy, unlovable, unattractive, having sex withable mother of a 1.5-year-old.
Yeah.
Instead of, the story is, I am a mom who just created a human and I'm getting after it. And I also am a good steward of my body. So in the breaks I have, I'm going to exercise, not so that I can become like hot again, but so that I can freaking feel good. And I'm worth that. And that means I'm going to need 30 minutes or an hour I'm going to have to get some home gym equipment. Or I'm going to have to go to the local YMCA or the local gym and use their childcare service, which means me and my husband have to budget for that. I'm going to need my husband to start helping with dinner or to bring home some healthy grocery options so that we can begin to change. You see what I'm saying? It's an identity. It's a story that we tell ourselves, and then we backfill that story, that identity, with action.
Okay, that makes sense. Because he's always encouraged that, like, oh, take time, you can go ahead, and for some reason I have not.
If the story that you tell yourself all the time is, I'm just this frumpy, unlovable.
Oh, this is helpful.
Right? And then he goes, hey, go take all the time you need. You're going to hear that as, you're not pretty enough for me. I wish you'd go work out so you wouldn't be so unattractive.
Exactly.
Or if you're like, no, dude, I loved feeling beautiful in my own skin, and I am a person of beauty, and I'm a person who's a good steward of my body. Those aren't mutually exclusive. And so I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to feel good. And by the way, you're going to go do a week's worth of exercise. The actual aesthetic of you is not going to change a whole lot, but you're going to freaking feel awesome.
Thank you. Because I will. I worked out before and I used to feel amazing, and I just haven't been.
Okay.
So I get it.
But hold on. This comes after the conversation with your husband.
Oh, I forgot.
Okay. You can't do this. You can't just blow by that. Because this is the intimate moment. This is the moment when you say, this is all of me. Do you see me, and do you still love me? Because you have to get an answer to that question, because you doubt that right now.
Okay.
Fair?
Fair. Thank you.
Thank you for being brave.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That helps a lot.
All right, here's your homework assignment. I want you to write down on a piece of paper when baby's taking a nap today.
Okay.
Here are the stories I'm making up about my appearance, my lovability, my sexuality, my sensuality, and my husband. And then I want you to tell your husband, hey, can we turn all the TV off and put all the phones away and have like an honesty meeting tonight? And he'll go, oh, Lord, what is it? And be like, no, I love you so much. And I want to have this, I want to be honest about some things. Sure. And I want you to start all of those with the story I'm choosing to make up or the stories I've been making up are as follows.
It's so funny how it actually is me, and I was so focused on it being a him thing.
Well, hey, it might be him. He might be a total scumbag jerk.
Right.
But maybe not. Only you know him, right?
Okay.
Early on, I had somebody call this show, and here's what the call was. I have a 2-year-old, an infant, and my boyfriend says I'm now in the running to be his wife. But he said I have to get the house back in order and get my body back. And then she called me asking for how she could fix her mindset. And I told her, I know some friends of mine who don't mind going back to jail. What's this guy's address? Right? It doesn't sound like your husband. Am I right?
No, he's wonderful.
Okay. I think you're haunted by a story he told you of his ex-wife where he had a loveless, sexless marriage. And you have loved filling that gap for him. And now suddenly you're in just a season and you've begun to tell yourself new stories. I think it's time to put those stories on the table. Let's write new stories. Let's define new identities and let's just go make those things happen. And by the way, you have a 1.5-year-old. I could hear the pots and pans in the background. It's just chaos. It's just a season. Just a season. So how can we have fun and adventure and sexuality and sensuality with running around? It's just hard. It's just a mess. And it doesn't last forever. And if there's a spirit of adventure about it and a spirit of honesty and putting it all on the table, man, couples can overcome anything. Anything. But it starts with those stories we tell ourselves, and it starts with those identities, and then it starts with those behaviors, those actions. Who are we in spite of our identity? You get to change that stuff every minute of every hour of every day. Awesome. I'm proud of you for calling. Leah. Let me know how this conversation goes. I'm really, really interested, and I'd love to talk to your husband if he wants to give me a buzz.